Welcome to Crush Wednesday. I'm Richard Tutunji, and today we are talking out the best strategies to ensure that you close all your leads. Welcome to Crush Wednesday. Let me just get this camera in the right spot here. Didn't bring my tripod stand. How is everybody doing? So pumped to be here for Crush Wednesday. And today I want to talk about a really important topic, probably one of the most important topics that you need to know to make sure that you close sales. Lewis, good to have you joining here. Now, today we are talking about that. We're talking directly about that, how to make sure that your leads that you get are actually closed. And I've got John, welcome to the call. Guys, if you can hear me, say yes and give me a wave, give me a shout out, just to make sure I know you're here, because I need a lot of interaction today, because I want to know what you do to ensure that you can close the leads that you have been given on Facebook, because we hear a lot about at the moment. We hear a lot saying, Facebook doesn't work. My leads suck. Nothing's working for me. And I want to share with you some stats to help you get off that edge of complaints, if that's you, and to give you some inspiration to actually make it work for you, because there is a lot of leads out there. There's a lot of people that need your help, and it's about now ensuring that if they've inquired for your services, if they've inquired of exactly what you do, I want to make sure that you actually give them what they inquired for in the first place. And that's what we're talking about today on Crush Wednesday. So for those who've never been to Crush Wednesday, welcome. For those who are watching this a replay, welcome. If you are watching a replay, just make sure you say hello and where you're tuning in from. That's what I'd like you to do today, which would be absolutely amazing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through a few different stats, which may alarm you possibly. Maybe they won't. But if you're in that position right now where you need to fundamentally generate more business, there's two things you need right now. Number one, you need people to call. And there's a few ways you can do that. Because we know that face-to-face, if you're in a service-based business, which we are in the fitness industry, we know that we can close better on a face-to-face situation. Now, we had Steve Jensen. If you haven't seen that, big shout out to Steve Jensen, one of our partners from Impact Training. And go watch his session, and I'll tag him in this live just to make sure he knows there's a follow-up. And if you haven't watched that interview that I did with him, it was actually an amazing interview. We got a lot of great feedback from it. Go and watch it now, so then you can actually understand what we're talking about here in a bit of context, okay? That's the first step I would like you to do. Go and watch that now. So the second step then is that once you have the lead coming in from Facebook, the leads are coming through, the second thing that you need to do is literally make sure they purchase something off you. That's literally what we need to do. Now, obviously, between that, there's a lot of different things to do, which I'm not going to go through. I am going to focus predominantly on the topic of making sure that you're closing the leads that you receive and how you close leads. Kylie, good to have you here. I hear you're smashing it. Good to have John here. Good to have Lewis here. Ev, welcome to the live. If you are here, make sure you give me a shout out, say hello. And I want you to think about your best strategies to reach your leads. I'd love to know the ninja hacks out there, the strategies out there that are happening in today's place. So let me recap. 48% of sales, 48% of people never follow up with a prospect. 48% of people never follow up the prospect. What is wrong with us? Why are we too busy to follow up the prospect for? Rearrange yourself if you are. 25% of sales people, I call them sales people, these kind of like stats sales people are us if we're doing the sales. Never make a second contact and stop just there, 25%. 12% of salespeople, us, of business owners, make more than 3 contacts. Yep, 12%. So 48%, never follow up with a prospect, full stop. Hello? That's a problem right there. Feel good to join us. Now, that's the flip side. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. Let me repeat that again. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. I'm talking about phone. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. 5% of sales are made on the third contact. 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact. And listen to this one, guys. Listen to this one. Drum roll. 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. The 5th to 12th contact. The 5th to 12th contact. Now, recheck yourself right now and ask yourself, hang on, have I made between 5 to 12 contacts? So the Facebook lead that I got, the organic lead that I got, the referral that I got in the door, the one that just messaged me on Facebook and I forgot to get back to them, I've called them twice and now you're calling them a bad lead. Have you made 5 to 12 contacts? Yes or no? Is that normal to make 5 or 12 contacts? I'd love to know what you think. Guys, how many contacts do you need to make? Think back to the last 5 clients you've had. How many contacts do you need to make that sale happen? Comment below. Comment below. Melissa, good to have you watching us. So I want to know how many contacts you've had to make before you've had to convert a sale. I'd love to know that. Let me know, please. Comment below. I know last week we didn't much commenting, but I want to get back to comments and conversations today. So think about this. Maybe the problem isn't Facebook, right? Maybe you haven't been persistent enough. Kylie says 3 attempts, which is great if you can get 3 attempts, and that's amazing. It means they're warm leads, they're ready to go. The warmer your leads, the better brand that you have, the better equity in the marketplace, the better community you have, the easier it is to convert leads because they want what you have. Boris, you can take it up to 5. Yes, you can take it up to 5. I know, Boris, that you're pounding them, which is great. 5 contacts and you should get 80% of your clients thing. So the question is, how many times should I follow up? What's the answer? How many times should you follow up? Well, I've got some more stats here. So 75% of online buyers, and I'm reading a bit of stats today. It was helping put together these stats, and I've done a bit of research on this, and I'm looking at research versus what's practical as well. So this is where I'd love your input here. 75% of online buyers want to receive 2 to 4 phone calls before a company gives up. 12% would like a company to try as many times as it takes to get a hold of them. So 75% want to receive 2 to 4 phone calls before a company gives up. Isn't that interesting? And that's interesting because then they're just saying, well, you know what, 75%, 2 to 4, but they've inquired. So again, how much do you want to push that? John says at least 3 phone calls, SMSs, and ongoing emails. How many ongoing emails do we need to give? What's practical? What's borderline on that? And it's interesting. Let's think about that. The question is, did they inquire about your services? Yes or no? If they inquired about your services, is it your right then to start just keep picking up the phone and pushing? Ev says, I spoke to one of our ninjas this week for a coaching call and looked at the stats, and it was between 3 to 5 contacts, daily contacts that they're doing. So there's some numbers there for everybody. And yeah, that's take no fun. Shout out to those guys. They're doing amazing stuff. Getting a hold of between 3 to 5, between days 3 to 5, and get a hold of 80% of new leads from Facebook. So 3 to 5 attempts per day. What time should you follow up? Well, as soon as possible, the stats. The moment they inquire is the priority. In fact, in the first 5 minutes, increases the chances, directly increases the chances 80% more in the first 5 minutes. So get a hold of that straight away. Get on the phone, make it your priority. It's like that should be your priority, whatever happens there. Now, if you can't, if you're training, maybe you want to dedicate that to a receptionist, an admin person, somebody else that can take those calls straight away and actually say, and just pick them up on the phone. Hey, the trainer's training at the moment, but I'd love to get in contact with you straight away. It could be an outsourcing agent, an outsourcing company there that just pick up the phone and make that happen. It could be another trainer that's not training with you. So there's some ideas there. Listen, if they're inquiring at 2 o'clock in the morning, obviously I'm not saying pick up the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't think they're expecting that either, but make sure the next day it's your priority. It's your follow-up the next day. A tip, set yourself a checklist of things to do each day, which includes, it always should include follow-ups, new leads, old leads. Like at least make sure that you're including part of the day where every day it's like an hour block, a 30-minute block, a 2-hour block, and it's like, okay, follow-ups, new calls every single day. Make sure you include that up. That's really important because then you're always going to have a follow-up. It's a funnel, and if you don't get a hold of them the first time, you have to get a hold, keep getting a hold of them, keep getting a hold of them. They wanting your services, but you haven't yet connected. The whole thing is, how do we connect? Now, what's the best medium? Let's talk about that. And these are some of the ideas that we did talk about in the Steve Jensen interview we did a few weeks ago. So if you haven't watched that, go check that out. So one study showed that the telephone outreach converted emails by a significant margin. So telephone was 8.21% versus 0.03%. Wow, 8.21 versus 0.03%. What does that tell you? You've got to get on the phone and have a conversation like we've been talking about. But nobody answers, you say. Nobody answers the phone. Yes, nobody answers the phone, do they? Nobody ever answers the phone because the phone is a distraction. We don't answer our phone. So what do you do if I don't answer your phone? 80% go to voicemail. And 90% of the first time voicemails are never returned. Who agrees with that? 80% of calls go to voicemail and 90% of the first time voicemails are never returned. I'm in that 90%. I don't return voicemails, generally, very rarely. I return more text messages. So what do? Well, you leave a voicemail and follow up again. Yep, you leave a voicemail and follow up again. Or, that's number one. Number two, text message. Text message are the best. Text messages convert a rate of 40% higher. So that's a good one. Sending text message to a prospect prior to making contact on their phone decreased. So sending a text message to a prospect prior to making contact on the phone decreased the likelihood of ever contact lead by 39%. So what are we saying here? We're saying that you need to follow up on the phone first, get them on the phone, and then you can follow up by text message. It's like a relationship that way. People like the phone first, then we can have a text message relationship. Do you agree with that? Yes or no? Do you like somebody just texting you from the start, or do you prefer a phone call and then you're happy to have that conversation with them back and forth? India, good to have you joining us here. What does everybody think about this? What do you think? Do you like the voicemail left and then a text message? Or do you prefer straight text message straight away? Well, the stats say that you need to call them first, then text message. So what about social media? That's another one. Social media. People are now getting on social media. 50%, the stat there, sales, I'm calling sales reps, these are the stats from sales reps and so forth. So sales reps using social media selling are 50% more likely to meet or exceed their sales quota. Isn't that interesting? So using social media like Messenger, which we talk about, building relationships, giving value, it's higher chance. Inda says, I'll find a lot of people who don't like picking up the phone if they don't know who it is. Yes, that's a big one too. So what do you guys do? Do you put it on a block number? Do you put an open number? What do you do in this situation when nobody picks up the phone? Or do you leave the voice message and then leave another message and then leave another message? The stats are in, you got to leave the messages. You got to leave the messages. What do you do? So I've got a few ninja ideas, guys, and I'd love to, I want to open this up for a conversation. So just keep let me know your thoughts. Michael, good to have you joining us. You call, you leave a voice message, then leave a text message. I like that one. You leave voice message, text message, then call again. Michael, I think you've hit on the head there. That's a good one because they've heard the message, they've heard that commonality, and they're following up with text, then call again. India says open number, then I follow up with text message. So have the number open, not blocked. I don't like blocked numbers. I actually think mobiles work better as well. I think mobiles, who agrees mobiles versus landlines when you're trying to call somebody? What is better for you? I personally think mobiles. I'd love to know your opinion because mobiles are, sometimes when a landline, it's actually, before a couple of years ago, I would have said definitely landline, but, mobiles are the place that people are calling from. Sometimes landline looks like too much of a sales call center. That's not good, is it? Kylie says call and SMS. Mobile is the key. Yes, Kylie says mobile key. SMSs are great, but I do think they need a call. Ev says nobody picks up blocked numbers anymore. Nobody picks those things up, and even too, sometimes the phone now says maybe somebody calling. So if you've called them, and then you've sent them an email, and your email has a signature on, and that's connected up to your phone, it will always say maybe Richard is calling you. Who's experienced that? I love that feature, by the way. I love that feature. John said, who even has a landline? Good question. Who even has a landline? We have landlines, but I don't think we actually use them. I think we should just get rid of them. India says, yes, even the sales call centers are calling from mobiles now. I've been caught out with that. Yes, in fact, that is true. We have all mobiles. Mobiles are even cheaper. We're looking at cost per sector, cheaper than landlines. They're just so easy to use. So I've got a few ninja moves for everybody, and thanks for the comments, guys. I'm loving this conversation. A few ninja moves. So when you're calling up somebody multiple times, like over and over and over and over again, sometimes it gets like, well, what am I going to talk about today? Am I just going to talk about, hey, do you want to book in for my session? Do you want to book in for my session? Do you want to book in for my session? Do you want to book in for my session? That sometimes gets a bit repetitive. So the few ideas you can give them, provide value on each call. So what you want to be doing is provide value. So know and understand their wants and needs. So if you can somehow get a little bit of context on one of the calls that you may have, you want to provide context or something to offer them relevant. So for example, if you've done an article, written article, or even better, a video, what I'll be doing is I would email them or call them and say, listen, just want to follow how they're going. By the way, I'm just going to email you or text you a video that I recently filmed, or our team recently filmed, and I think it's going to help you in your situation to get you started. I'd love to know your opinion about the video, about the article, about the image that I give you. Let me know what your thoughts are. Now, if you give that value piece out, they obviously know what you're calling for. They're calling for a sale. They're calling to sign you up. Yeah. But if you give a piece of value out prior that you know is going to help them to give them value, like, it could be the best 5 foods to eat, and you've heard them to say, listen, I'm struggling with eating in the first call, struggling what to eat, and you give them a little video, that's going to help them to say, hey, there's a bit of value there. Wow, I've got some value. I haven't even signed up yet. And it helps them to now have another conversation about something else instead of just, are you going to sign up with me? So it's basically a bit of a jab. It's like just giving them value. And then when you are on the phone with them, you have a bridging. You have something to say, hey, did you watch the video? No? Well, you obviously need some accountability. You obviously need some help. You did watch the video. What do you think about the video? So it engages and opens up a conversation. That's a great one that I've used and our clients use. Comments here. Michael, if you call from the same number advertised on Google, some phones will automatically say, yes, XYZ gym calling. Does that work for us all? Laugh out loud. Yes, so sometimes having different mobile phones are a good runaround to that one too. That's definitely something you've got to be aware of, so don't use those. Do give them an out. So if you're not interested anymore, let me know and I won't bother you anymore. That's a great one. I like that too. I like that as well. By giving them an out, you say, listen, you made an inquiry with us on the X and Sets date. I sent you a video about some of our weight loss plans and some great foods to have. Maybe I know you're busy traveling at the moment. They might help you. You can have a bit of a browse on this video or that video. I want to get your opinion on that. And then as you follow them up, so listen, just following up and lead. I know you're busy. I appreciate that. Just kind of doing my job to make sure that you get what you want. But if you're not interested anymore, just let me know and I won't continue calling you. And by saying that it's almost like putting them back on their court to say, hey, you did call me and I'm doing my job and helping you out. So just give them the out if they want the out, if you're struggling with that. David, welcome to the call. Della, welcome to the call. Don't make people feel guilty they haven't responded to your messages. Don't mention this is the 50th time I've called you. Oh, this is the 12th time I've called you. Well, good luck to you, guys. You need to make sure that nothing's an effort. Now remember, every time that you leave a voice message, if you do, every time you text, the types of time you call, you're already building a relationship up, I say. You're already building a relationship up. Because if you're using social media and then you're kind of like maybe adding them on friends on Facebook or LinkedIn, and they're sort of seeing your content and you know you've been back and forth on the phone, you may have spoken quickly, you may have listened to the message, you're already building that relationship up. So don't think you've got to get an official call before you've made a decision. They're already making the decision at the moment. So don't be rude on the calls. Don't say that, 10th time I've called you. So I'd love to know about that. Today, guys, welcome to Crush Wednesday. We are talking about how to actually get through to somebody when you've generated a lead. How many times should you call? And I'm just going to recap what we've spoken about before we move on. We have spoken about that people are not picking up the phone. Obviously, we know that. No brain there, Richard. But basically, we're sort of saying 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. We've got some great client at the moment. Actually, Evs was speaking to a client of ours called Technofunk. Shout out to those guys. And they're calling between 3 to 5 times a day and getting a hold of 80% of their new leads, which is amazing. Some people are just sort of saying, well, I've called them once or twice. I'm not going to bother them. And if you're not coming from a mindset of like, well, I don't want to bother them, you're always going to be a bother. Remember, they inquired in. So it's about what we're talking about now. It's about giving them value on each call. So giving them video to watch, giving them an article to watch in between. making sure you follow them up straight away, like priority straight away within the first 5 minutes. As soon as that 5 minutes drops, well, you've pretty much dropped your whole, your whole chance of actually getting in contact with them. So that's really important there. Your response times literally just decrease through the roof. If they're going to take some time doing that. Now I'm going to read out some, just to break it up, I'm going to read out a lot of just really fast stats for you, right? And just to blow your mind. So let's talk about emails. So email marketing has 33% of email recipients open emails based on a subject line alone. 33%. So subject lines with more than 3 words experience a drop in open rate by 60%, maybe because they're too long. Subject lines that have your name, their name in the subject line, increases it by 29.3%. Okay, these are just some different sources I've gathered. What's some other good stats for you? The average sales development rep, so if you've got a salesperson in your call, they're averaging 52 calls per day. That's interesting. What's another great one? Texting. Prospects who sent text messages converted at a rate of 40% higher. But remember, you can't send the text message before you made the call. That's going to decrease by 39%. Another great one here is, this is a good one. Texting after contact leads to 112% higher lead to engagement conversion. I love this one. As soon as I finished a meeting or anything like that, I always send a quick text message to recap what was spoken about and say hello. Sorry, my name of the prospect's name in the email line. So yeah, if you put the person you're speaking to, their name in the email line, hi Richard, it's going to increase the chance of opening up that email. Good to have you, Helen. Basically, where it's happening here is a lot on social media, and these are sales stats, guys. So traditional sales reps are now using social media quite a lot to make sure that really growth happens there, because you can start to build a relationship even if you're not getting in touch with them, most importantly. All right, so we talked about nobody answers. We talked about that. So let's talk about a follow-up system. So let's talk about a bit of a follow-up system. I'm going to give you 12 points now of a bit of a follow-up system. So this is how we go. Make a phone call, number 1. Number 2, these are some follow-up system examples. Mail a handwritten note to be sent right after I leave a message. In my handwritten note, I do something memorable that warrants a callback. Wow, that's interesting. And this is one of the tactics on the corporate way method. If you've watched that before, it's always leaving something of value there that people can actually engage and watch with. But in this situation, you might have a standard, like we have some postcards, you might have a standard like written note that you can just quickly write, hey, it was great to get hold of you. Here's my details. Send them in the mail. It is taking time, but same as contacting people. If you do it a system straight away, get it out, that will help as well. Send an email to follow up and check in. Send them a relevant blog post. We talked about that. Special report, white paper, email. We have quick wins here. So if you had some regular content or regular live, you would send the last live that will make sense to them. If you've got a book, if you've got a report, you can actually send them a book, send them a report, things like that. Make another phone call, make another phone call, and make another phone call work really well too. And then make another phone call, then make another phone call. Leanne, good to have you joining us. A great subject for you. 5 phone calls a minimum before we start to get in contact with them. And then send another follow-up email. So basically do more calls. Don't be a peasant, a peg. What am I saying, Tay? Don't be a guys, what am I trying to say? Don't be a, I'm going to choose another word because I just can't get it out of my mouth today. Don't be annoying to your client. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't make them feel that you're doing something that's like a pain for them. Make them feel happy, and make sure that it's like, hey, you guys, I know you're super busy. I'm gonna try to help you out. Watch this video. I'm gonna contact you soon. Change your wording, and a big thing I want to talk about is your tone on the voice, your tone on the phone, right? Your tone on the phone. If your tone, a pest, yes, a pest. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, that makes me feel better now. A pest. Don't be a pest. If your tone on the voice is a negative tone, they're not going to call you back. If your tone of voice is positive, they're going to call you back. Or they're going to be more in chance to call you back. Your tone is everything. Your tone is like everything. So make sure you make these calls in a good state. Nobody wants a trainer, a fitness professional who's like, oh God, you still haven't come in. God, you're lazy. Like, be happy that they want to, like, they haven't met you, but they're so excited to meet you. They're so excited to meet you. They just can't wait to meet you because, you know, your tone and the voice is everything. I believe that, even I reckon the attitude on the phone, like if someone's not picking up the phone, change your attitude and for somehow that phone picks up. I guarantee the phone picks up. You know what I'm talking about? Who's done that? They've asked their team to call. They didn't get through, but as soon as they said, listen, I'll make the calls, somehow the phone picks up. So it's the intention that you want to put out. I actually am a big believer in this. The intention that you want to put out before you make those phone calls and say, listen, I'm looking forward to everybody answering the phone so I can help them. That's going to be really positive. And when you put that tone out, that energy out, people are going to respond back to you. If you're putting a negative energy out, negative toning out, they're not going to respond back to you. It's very simple. Yes, India, why don't we on this like the vibe? You know, we should be doing a Facebook Live together. You got all the words for me lined up. Thank you so much. And welcome to Ninjas, by the way. So, bit of a recap. Leads are working. You're getting the leads in, but without closing the leads, it's not going to happen. So remember that 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. 5th to 12th contact. So if you're not making between 5 to 12 contacts via an email, via a text message, via a messenger, via multiple calls, you're not going to make a sale. Then you're going to go back and say your leads are crap. Who's done that before? Yes, I have. So it's really important to start thinking about nurturing the leads. It's starting to think about, well, let me just change this attitude a little bit and let me add another call in. Let me spend an hour a day on follow-ups. And I would honestly say, if you want to grow your business, make sure minimum that you're spending an hour a day just on the follow-up section. Guys, if you want to grow your business, 80% of your time needs to be spent on sales and marketing to grow your business. If you're not going to spend 80% of your time on sales and marketing, you spend 20% of your time and the rest is in the technician world, you need to make sure that you have somebody else to spend 80% of your time to do those calls, to do the marketing there. If not, what happens then, you simply won't grow the rate that you want to grow. Helen says, that's where I've been going wrong. What's that, Helen? Is that the follow-ups? Is that what's been happening? So the problem isn't Facebook or bad leads. Maybe you haven't been persistent enough. And guys, we're in a busy world. And just as busy as you are, your clients are just as busy. And everybody has to have respect with everybody else, that everybody's busy. And you got to make it easy for them to get in contact with you. Rob, welcome to the live. Good to have you here, my friend. Helen, yes, not following up. Not following up is the key. It's very easy to tick off your to-do list to say, done that, but nothing's actually done. So something that we use, and I might finish off this, something that we use, which we've talked about before. I think we got this from Angela. She's come and spoke to you guys. We use it. I'm not sure where it's come from, so I don't know who to credit here. I think it's Angela. So we basically use a system that we use, and it's basically the system is it's calls. Number 2 is connects. I'm just writing this down. Number 3 is conversations, and number 4 is sales. So calls, connect, conversation, sales. So what is a call? A call is somebody that you've had a call with, like you've rang. So let's say you've called 50 people, that's a call. So you put, every time that you call, you just mark it down, right? And you say call, yep, I've had one call. The next is connect. Do you actually connect them? Connect is, did you leave a voice message or not? If you didn't leave a voice message or you didn't connect, you just don't put anything there, okay? Conversation is you actually had a conversation, like a real conversation with them. And a connect is also to calls, connect, conversation, sales, yes. And connect is also someone on Facebook or Messenger and things like that. And a conversation, you actually had a conversation. So you can put calls and you can put calls, and number 2, you could even put Facebook calls or conversations, or you can put that in, we put that in the connects area, and then the sales. So if you've got 50 calls, you might have had 20 connects, leave 20 messages. You've had maybe 10 conversations and you've had 2-3 sales. So then every day you know where your numbers lie, calls, connect, conversation, sales, and just mark down every person that you've actually had a call with or connected or had a conversation with. That works very well because when you do that, you can keep on track of what you're actually doing instead of saying, well, it was such a busy day today, I didn't have time to call anybody. Well, it's because one person was just on the phone for so long. But when you actually mark it down, you can actually then say, I've got an aim to have 10 conversations, not 10 calls, 10 conversations. Very different 10 conversations to 10 calls. See, 10 calls, you might have 0 conversations. So really what you've done is you haven't moved your business forward at all, 0. You haven't moved your business forward. That's the fact of the matter. You have not moved your business forward. So by you ticking down and saying, well, I've had 10 calls, that doesn't mean anything to anybody. It's not going to affect your bottom line at all. It's not going to affect getting in connection with people. It's going to make you feel good to say you've called 10 people, nothing's happened. But when you look at your KPIs and the reports and why you haven't grown, the number one reason is it's the conversations. You got to get in contact with more people, and those conversations have to be pre-qualified, and then it's obviously the sales there. And then it's this number percentage, and then you can start to work out your percentages. You can work out how many people I need to call to connect with, to have a conversation with, to make a sale. Once you know those numbers, once you understand your numbers there, the game's yours. You don't have to compare yourself to anybody else. You don't have to say, what's you doing wrong? Just show me the numbers. Show me the numbers. Now, I've asked a few ninjas this, if one of our ninjas do this. If you're not a ninja, that's fine. Use the strategy here. Put it on a Google Drive, or we just put it on a spreadsheet, piece of paper, and we just tick it every day. And then by the end of the week, you'll understand your percentages and your numbers. Ev just wrote there, calls, connect, conversation, sales. So that's kind of the action step from today. And then come back and understand, well, where am I going wrong? Am I going wrong with my conversations to sales, or am I just not making enough calls on the front end, and so I can't connect or have enough conversations with people? Generally, it's going to be one of those two things. You need to put more people in your funnel, and if you don't have enough people to call, that means we need to get back to marketing, okay? And that's where we slide in right there. So guys, I hope that's helped you. Let me just read out any comments that I've missed. So good to have you here in Helen Ev, who is on this call. I'll just use my phone here. Guys, let me know your thoughts. Does this make sense? Leanne, good to have you here. What do you do, Leanne? You're speaking to a lot of people every day. What are your thoughts, Leanne, on this subject matter? David, I hope that's helped. Della, good to have you here. Michael, thanks for your input today. Kylie Ray, killing it, well done. John, always good to have you around. I think that's Boris, Melissa, Phil. It's good to have you joining us as well. So guys, let me know your thoughts on this one. Lewis, if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. It means that you probably haven't commented or said hello. But most importantly here, be persistent, follow up, numbers down. Remember, calls, connects, conversation, sales. Calls, connect, conversation, sales. Calls, connects, conversation, sales. Connecting is if you've actually left a message or you've messaged them out on Facebook. Conversations, you've actually had that conversation, be there at 30 seconds or 1 minute. That means that you're in that flow, and then sales moves on from there. Guys, I hope that's helped. Sam, good to have you joining us here. Thanks for the great, thank you, Boris. Just what I need to hear coming from our 3-day national sale. 3-day national sale. You know, Boris, when you have a 3-day national sale, let me tell you something right now. It's like anything that's foundation membership, anything that's one-off, when there's a 3-day national sale, it's never going to happen again. This is our 3-day national sale. And if you miss out on this 3 days, the price goes back to this. If you miss out on this 3 days, you're going to have to wait till next year. How urgent do you want this happening? So guys, any urgency in a conversation or a sale is obviously going to elevate things quite a lot. So when you're trying to call people, and that's probably another thing too, when you're trying to call people and you've got an open day or something's happening, urgency is always going to help you close that sale. Guys, remember, this is Crush Wednesday, 9:29 every Wednesday. Be sure to comment in this Facebook group. Just a bit of a shout out. We are now, for those who have signed up to Meet Your Personal Trainer, by the way, thank you so much. And I appreciate it because we're relaunching Meet Your. We've got a lot of things and items happening on this brand to really get it out there, but we need your help. The reason why we need your help is because to nationally rank one of the largest directories in Australia, we need some great content on it. And so the reason why we've also made our our product's super low price is that we want good people, good trainers on our platform. So if you are watching this and you want more information about Meet Your Personal Trainer, if you can write in the comments, if you haven't signed up yet, write in the comments MYPT or Meet Your, MYPT is perfect, MYPT, and we'll be in touch with you. For those who have signed up, keep an eye out for your inbox. We are loading profiles this week, so there's a few hundred profiles to load, so it's taking a bit of time, and then you can go in and then you can actually load up all your details and obviously put your videos, your how-to videos, and for those who are on the call, you should know this by now how important content is, but more content helps your area to be listed up higher because we already have some great backlinks, some great 10 years of ranking history there. So when you put your content up, it will elevate your individual area there. So if you need help, let us know. But otherwise, if you want to be connected on MYPT, this foundation rate of $97, please just comment MYPT. And everybody else, thank you so much. I look forward to chatting with everybody next Wednesday. Remember, any questions, throw it in the Crush group. Bye for now, guys. Thanks so much.